the community chairman. And then those applications, of course, had to be sent into the county office at the courthouse, and accepted and given. What am I trying to say? In other words, to say somebody else had to qualify those applications and say, yes, they can have it. Get out the list of the people that have been awarded the materials to make the mattress. Then these people get together and they have a list of things that they have to have. They have to have a place, first off. It might be a deserted school house, or it might be any kind of a structure that they could work inside. And they need tables, large tables that have to, which are generally made just with lumber, that or sheets, however they can get a table of certain dimensions to make this. They had to have sewing machines that could be taken there to this place. And so everything that was going to be needed, and of course we had sheets for the instructions and so on, but then when they had everything together and was settled on a time, they also made out a schedule as, now whose mattress are we going to make first? In other words, the people were not handed out the materials and then everybody go off in his own way and make the mattress. They were to be made the way we had been taught, we agents had been taught to make them. And so everything that was going to be done had to be done that way. I really rather enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, and it was over and above. I'm sure that we probably didn't do as much as we might have with the other work that we had gone there thinking that was all we were going to do, was work with these clubs and individual people too that we worked with. Because the idea behind home demonstration was that, let's say that the group would decide they wanted to do something with improvement of their landscape or yard, or they were going to make some kind of improvement in the house, or one thing.
But it worked for a number of other things. I mean, making, canning goods.
Yes.
Dealing with practical things.
Yes.
To make your house work.
Right.
You know, from cleaning to preserving your.
Right. And everything about food and health and everything that can. The subject matter for what we were teaching was just anything and everything that would be involved in keeping a good home going, the house and the family and the health of the family.
Things that some people take for granted, and other people really have to learn. You know, I mean, if you don't learn, you find out the hard way.
That's right. Well, I tried always to be very practical with what I was doing too, to be practical about it. What would work best, and when I was in university, I was living at home, so when it came to cooking and so on, I could be going home, and by the time I got home in the evening, I already knew I was going to prepare the meal for the family. I could practice a lot. Some of the girls didn't have that advantage. Maybe hadn't done too much cooking at home, and I always liked to do that, and my mother was very much in agreement with whatever I wanted to do. That was fine with her, as long as she didn't have to clean up after me. She always said, you can do whatever you want. She said, or you clean the kitchen afterwards. But anyway, it was work I enjoyed, and I guess if that had not been well, if the scope of what I had in that county hadn't been so large, I might have been more willing to stay longer. Because I learned a lot with that myself, you see, and then I remember we made this wasn't part of the program, but one of the things I made for myself while I was there was a feather quilt. And my mother had some big feather beds that had been the grandmother's, It's like a big sack of feathers. I wish I had never gotten rid of that. I must have given it away to somebody after years of using it. But we made with featherproof sateen, and it was I had it in yellow and a paisley print in yellow. And if you take a rectangle, the size to cover the bed, and you divide it into sections. You make this, sew this like you're making a pillow, I guess you could say.
Do you still have this?
Hmm?
Do you still have this?
No, I don't have it anymore. But I can see it in my mind, What we did was to, it was not square like this, but about so, like, okay, we're sewing around here and turn it over and stitch around the edge, and then it's that way. Okay, but before we do this was 2 pieces, 4 pieces actually. One side is the line, the back side, one's the front side, but each side is two pieces that were sewn together through the middle. The seam was through the middle. And then made a design, just a simple design of giving little channels around, and so that in the center you had a slim closed rectangle, and then another rectangle outside of that, that you had maybe 3 or 4, I guess 4 about, maybe, and I don't remember if there's 3 or 4. But we sewed that all together. Well, now how do we get it how do we get the feathers in there? We made little holes in that seam, in each one that would get, like I'm going to open this here, and it's going to open that the feathers can go all the way around in that channel. And I think it was my mother who figured this out, but I'm not sure who told her. I don't know where I got my information, but I think I just got it from my mother. We put the feathers in, I was telling one of the girls this not long ago, we put the feathers in this comfort with a vacuum cleaner. Your vacuum cleaner pulls, let's say we have feathers on the floor, we're pulling those